I think Giannis made a mistake in re-upping with Milwaukee after the title, because this is never a team that was going to be able to do anything better. That the pinnacle of their existence was that title, and he could have left there with the goodwill of having given them a title that they hadn't had since Kareem, and he could have gone to a place that can build a proper team around him.
Yeah.
And he didn't do that, and so now 3 years later and 3 first-round exits later, we're still in the same place he should have been.
Now,
I mean, I think it should be accepting the premise that you're saying is, should they trade him? This should be a mutual parting of ways, because he should want to get up out of there, and hopefully at enough value that the team can get a good haul for him, and maybe build something again in the future. But he needs to get out for his own career, and they don't have any option but to get him out to try and rebuild from scratch.
that leads us to this, because, Giannis has been getting questions about it, and, of course, he's in the middle of a playoff thing, so he has to say, I'm committed to the market, this and that.
Yeah.
But we know that Giannis always leaves tea leaves in all seasons about, hey, if this team is not – and now this team is so stuck with, Kyle Kuzma has years on his deal, Dame has years on his deal, what are you going to do with Doc? And then you have a team where their first-round picks are not theirs. They're gone, right? Yeah. And so how can you improve this team? The only way you can improve it is by moving Giannis. There is no other way. Dame is on a Supermax deal. Nobody's going to take that on with years left. So how do you improve the team? I think they have to move Giannis. I think they have to do this all season, especially if they go out like we assume they're going to against this Indiana team in the first round. What is this? 3 years in a row they lose in the first round, right? At least two.
Yeah, at least two.
Two to three.
Yeah,
it's time.
No, I agree. I think Giannis made a mistake in re-upping with Milwaukee after the title, because this is never a team that was going to be able to do anything better. That the pinnacle of their existence was that title. And he could have left there with the goodwill of having given them a title that they hadn't had since Kareem, and he could have gone to a place that can build a proper team around him.
Yeah.
And he didn't do that, and so now 3 years later and 3 first-round exits later, we're still in the same place he should have been.
Now,
I think it should be accepting the premise that you're saying is, should they trade him? This should be a mutual parting of ways. Because he should want to get up out of there, and hopefully at enough value that the team can get a good haul for him, and maybe build something again in the future. But he needs to get out for his own career, and they don't have any option but to get him out to try and rebuild from scratch.
Where would you like to see him, or what makes the most sense to you?
I do like the Miami. Because I like Miami's, ambition. I think that they'll do whatever it takes to try to just kind of strike while the iron's hot, and they have him. That's totally cool.
Is Houston interesting at all to you?
It is interesting. I think I like some of the pieces they have.
It would have to be for Sengun and others.
They would have the young pieces to probably make a trade like that would make sense for them.
Yeah.
But again, what does the roster look like? What pieces are you keeping, and what does the roster look like?
Like I said, it would have, I've seen all the mock trades. It would have to Sengun would 100% have to be in that deal.
Yeah.
And then it's one other young piece, maybe a Jabari, or maybe
get rid of Jabari 100%,
or maybe one of the guards, and then some picks, and then you got 2 to 3 because Houston has a ton of picks.
Yeah. No, if you could go Sengun, Jabari, who I think is dog shit, and some picks, and you get Giannis back, dude, I'd do that all day, every day.
Yeah,
I'd be Mayor Houston.
Another team that's not listed on here, but that does make sense and people like, is the Spurs.
Always.
Do you like Giannis with Wemby?
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, that's an impressive
and Fox.
Front line, and Fox.
You have a big three.
Yeah. Because San Antonio has a ton of picks too.
All of this assumes that Wemby's able to recover this blood.
Yeah.
And if he is, and again, if I'm Giannis and I'm like, hey, we're thinking about moving you here, I'm like, I want to personally review the medical records.
Yeah, I mean, is that
I
important?
do.
Because without Wemby in the picture, that's just another.
Yeah, then
Milwaukee,
you're Tracy McGrady at the Magic.
Yeah.
You thought you were
With
going
Grant Hill. Okay,
and,
I got you. Yeah.
And maybe even Tim Duncan, and
Yeah.
you're by yourself with a couple of fucking ham and eggers. Yeah.
No, that's for sure.
Trying to drop 40 a night.
That's really fucking interesting. I mean, and then if that happens, the West becomes like a fucking. It's not even like fair. I'm not even sure they'll allow that to happen. Houston or San Antonio. Like if you're a team in the East, like you have to, you can't allow Giannis to go west. Like there are so many East teams that are in need of something like you said, Miami will have to do something. Brooklyn has to figure something the fuck out.
But Brooklyn for me is so far off.
It is because they don't even have anything.
They don't have anything.
Yeah,
that's
the problem with Brooklyn. That is the problem with Brooklyn.
Yeah.
What's the Magic? You know.
Yeah.
If they're interested in what's the white kid's name? You keep Banchero and trade the other guy.
I'd actually
Wagner.
go the other way.
You'll go the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
you're talking.
I'm not a Paulo guy at all.
You're talking now, though.
Every time I watch him play, like the vomit comes into the back of my mouth, and I have to swallow it down.
And even though every Magic fan loves Paulo, I mean, they're signing up for that. 1,000 out of 1,000.
They better, yeah.
Yeah. So.
But you need to add a lot of shooting.
Oh yeah, around that. Yeah. I mean, they need a lot of shooting now.
No, I know. But, even
but if
more
you get
so.
Giannis, you're like, it's time.
Yeah,
It's time. We're on a different timeline now.
Yeah.
So you got to be proactive. And I don't know if I've ever seen Orlando be proactive. They did some things with Dwight. They went out and got Rashad, and they went out and got some other the shooters. So but that's the last time they've been proactive.
It's the last time they touched the finals. There's a connection.
But the Milwaukee Bucks are down 0-2 to the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, credit to you. You've called for 2 years now that the Pacers are an uncomfortable opponent for Milwaukee.
Yeah, they just are, and they are a rivalry. And I see other platforms talking about it now. But they are officially a rivalry. And but I do believe the Pacers have the number. Now, what's interesting is
2 teams, 2 shitty places to live.
I hear decent things about Indiana.
1 round, 1 winner.
But Milwaukee actually
didn't those bastards give us Mike Pence?
Maybe.
Yeah, so fuck them.
Milwaukee did beat Indiana during the regular season 3-1. Okay, and so Milwaukee has, on paper, they have the talent to beat Indiana. They have what it takes. There's but they in real life they don't.
Well,
That's what it comes down to.
The ball moves so freely for Indianapolis.
Yeah,
and they have so many guys. I mean, nobody's as good as Giannis on their team, but they have so many guys that that can hit a shot. And there's so many possessions in those games where the ball just swings, whatever, and then it's Halliburton scores, it swings, Siakam scores, and it just moved the goddamn ball. It's hard to guard.
Yeah, and
they just have way more possessions where it gets swung around, and a willing, capable guy takes essentially a simple shot, and it hurts you. And the Bucks got fucking nothing. If Giannis doesn't do it, they've got nothing.
They don't. Now, they did get a hell of a game out of Bobby Portis, and Portis is a big game hunter.
But Bobby Portis is and I respect him because he shoots the ball well. He's not a guy that goes like 2 for 10 in a playoff game.
In big games,
But he has to feed off the trough of Giannis.
Oh, 100%. He's not a shot creator.
Yeah, and so that's
he's a
the
shot
thing.
maker.
But they don't like Dame doesn't create any offense. Nobody else does. It literally comes down to Giannis having to kind of do everything. It's just not an effective way to play basketball.
They swung and missed on Kuzma.
I called that.
You did call it, and I was on the fence. I thought that maybe he could. Kobe says we hate Doc Rivers. Yes, we do.
Bitch never changes his stripes.
Talking about from Kuzma.
Yeah.
I thought because he was young, he did have a role on the Lakers championship team, but the problem is it was a smaller role that he did well in. and then you go to the depths of the fucking Red Sea in Washington. Yeah. And you sort of, the Dallas got a good deal out of Gafford, who was over in Washington dying a slow death. And so there are times where you can pick up guys from awful teams.
I just don't think he's the profile of that guy.
He's not.
So this is a guy, and I saw him in the summer league in Vegas with Lonzo Ball, and he was really good. He was skilled offensively. He could shoot. He was a really nice, sized guy.
Yeah.
And he got to L.A., and it was that L.A. thing where you kind of become like an early star based on nothing. And what did he do with that? He became like a tattoo guy. He became a let's change my hair guy. He became like this L.A. guy.
Yeah.
And he had the one, he's not talentless, but he had the one passenger role on the title team. And he didn't have a big role, which is what you're saying. And he never grew as a player.
Never.
Then he just went to a dysfunctional organization. Now you're going to trade him back to a playoff team that has aspirations and think he's primed to do that? Jordan Poole ain't coming back to play a vital role for anybody ever.
Ever.
And the same is true of Kyle Kuzma. He lost himself as a basketball craftsman in LA. That's what he did. And it's never coming back.
The move for him was to go from the Lakers directly from the Lakers to another playoff contending team. You don't think so?
No, the move to him was stop dyeing your hair and getting more tattoos when you're in LA. Be a fucking hooper.
So you're saying he actually lost it
himself.
In LA. Okay, I got you.
That's the thing.
And you come out in game one, you have zeros across the board.
That is fucking dozen donuts for the office.
That's so hard to do.
Damn right.
For a 6'10" man, a young man, a 6'10" young athletic man, that's not one rebound, one steal, one foul, just zeros across the board. Zero fouls? For a team that runs as fast as Indiana, they have so many offensive possessions, you can't touch a soul. Throw somebody on the ground. Do something.
Just terrible, man.
That was awful. That was awful. Yeah. And then you have that piece of it. Then you have Dame. Both of us have been sour on Dame for the last couple of years. And you have Dame in game one. He's chirping at Halliburton and he's going at him and him and how he's been pissed off at Halliburton ever since they kicked him out of the in season tournament.
Oh, okay.
And Halliburton did the Dame time because he hit the game winner, and Dame got pissed at that and he's been going at him ever since. But ever since then, Halliburton has been severely outplaying him.
But it's the same thing we had with Anna a couple stories ago. If you're going to talk trash when you're not in uniform and then you get in uniform, you better play like a motherfucker, man. You better be a dog. And he just comes out with another irrelevant fucking performance.